Zonecheck is the original automated flow switch testing device manufactured in the UK by Project Fire Products Limited for over 25 years. If Zonecheck is correctly wired and installed, it usually works straight away. However, sometimes a few extra steps or checks are required to get the unit working, especially if the product has been left for an extended period of time without use. This video has been created to guide installers through basic and advanced troubleshooting for Zonechecks that are not performing correctly. The video is designed primarily for Zonecheck with key switches, but many of the fault finding points will also be applicable to the addressable versions of Zonecheck. If the Zonecheck is visibly damaged or defective, then please contact us directly or your local reseller. Before you start, please ensure that you have the correct site clearance in place to work on the Zonecheck and to generate fire and fault signals in this area. Let's start with some basic checks. These checks do not require a high level of competency, but appropriate care and caution should be applied at all times. The Zonecheck pump has two isolation valves either side, one red and one green. These should both be in the open position. Zonecheck cannot be run without water in the pipework. If you are unsure if water is present, you can crack open the drain or vent valve with a cloth or bucket ready. If Zonecheck is installed horizontally, please check that the direction of flow in the pipework matches the flow sticker on the manifold and the flow arrow on the flow switch. Note that the direction of flow should run from the zone valve or stop valve past the flow switch. The arrow on the pump casting and the non-return valve should both be opposite to the flow in the pipe. If Zonecheck is installed vertically, please check that the flow of water in the pipework is up. The zone valve or stop valve should be upstream of the Zonecheck. The red valve should be above the green valve. The flow sticker on the Zonecheck manifold and the arrow on the flow switch should both be pointing upwards, in the direction of flow. The arrow on the pump casting and the non-return valve should both be pointing downwards. If you believe that there is a fault with the manufacture of Zonecheck in regard to the orientation of components, then please contact us directly or your local reseller. Check power is available at the pump. With the key switch in the self-test position, the top LED on the pump should blink and then illuminate to show that it is powered on. If you are close to the pump, then you should be able to hear it spinning and or water moving. If no power is available at the pump, then firstly check that the pump cable is fully inserted into the pump before continuing to advanced troubleshooting electrical. The pump supplied with the Zonecheck comes locked to the correct settings. However, this can be checked. When the pump is running, the far right icons should be illuminated. If this is incorrect, hold the green pump button down for up to 10 seconds to unlock the pump, and then press the button to scroll through the different options. The pump also displays lights which can be helpful to indicate and diagnose faults. A solid red light can indicate that the pump is blocked or seized. A flashing red light can indicate a voltage issue or high temperature, which can be the result of dry running or trapped air. A flashing red-green light can indicate a voltage issue or the presence of trapped air. For the majority of issues where power is available at the key switch and at the pump, but Zonecheck is not working, the most common solution is to ensure that all of the air is vented from the pipework and the pump line. This is common in horizontal installations, but can also be problematic in vertical installations. Please follow the steps shown in our separate venting video guide, which is on YouTube, and there's a link in the description of this video. Please take care when conducting advanced troubleshooting. Ensure that you are competent to conduct the tests directed, especially any electrical works. Also ensure that appropriate PPE is worn, which could include gloves and eye protection. Ensure that Zonecheck is isolated electrically before removing any cables, covers or components. Let's check the flow switch by removing the lid. Zonecheck is supplied with a special Allen key to remove the two Allen bolts at opposite corners of the flow switch lid. If this tool is not available, then a standard small flathead screwdriver is normally sufficient. Check the delay timer settings. Turn the dial to minimum settings while conducting troubleshooting. This should be returned to the desired delay once troubleshooting is completed. We recommend between 5 and 10 seconds. With the pump running, look at the spring-loaded pin. Either one of these three things should happen. Number 1. The pin moves all the way to the end and an audible click can be heard. If this happens consistently, then the Zonecheck is working correctly and the issue is likely to be with signalling between the flow switch and the key switch, or the flow switch and the fire alarm panel. Number 2. The pin wiggles or pulses but does not consistently make it to the end and hear the click. This indicates that the pump is spinning but is not generating sufficient flow. The most common solution for this is trapped air, and therefore venting would be recommended. But there can be other reasons which are covered later in this guide. Number 3. The pin does not move at all. This could indicate an electrical or mechanical issue with the pump, or a mechanical issue with the flow switch. Venting is still recommended in the first instance, but it is likely that further investigation will be required. If the pump is not running or is not generating sufficient flow despite being thoroughly vented, the pump motor can be removed for inspection and manual operating. Please inform Project Fire before conducting this check, as it involves removing bolts that are tamper sealed. This will not affect the warranty, provided the basic steps and checks have already been completed. Have a bucket and cloth handy, as some water will be trapped in with the pump. With the pump isolated mechanically, i.e. the red and green valves are closed, and isolated electrically, the pump motor or head can be removed to check for seizing and blockages. Remove the 4 Allen bolts around the pump and slide it out. Manually rotate the pump impeller. It should move freely and easily. Check the impeller and the pump casting for any signs of blockages and debris. With appropriate care, the pump can be run at this point to further check for free movement. Once the check has been completed, the pump head can be reattached to the casting. Note, the orientation of the pump is not critical. It is important that the pump be fully vented after reinstallation. Please take care when conducting advanced troubleshooting. Ensure that you are competent to conduct the test directed, especially any electrical works. Also ensure that appropriate PPE is worn, which could include gloves and eye protection. Ensure that Zonecheck is isolated electrically before removing any cables, covers or components. Visual electrical inspection. With the key switch electrically isolated, remove the 4 screws around the cover plate. Gently rotate the cover plate so that the wiring can be inspected. Check that all wires are secure and are in the correct position by comparing it to the wiring diagram shown in the instruction manual and repeated here. Please note that older key switches, ones with 2 LED lights on the front rather than 3, have a different wiring configuration. Contact Project Fire if you need assistance with this. Check wiring of flow switch by removing the lid and checking that wiring is secure and is using the correct terminals, normally open and common. Dead testing, continuity testing, voltage testing. Ensuring you have the correct electrical competency and safety in place. Use a multimeter or suitable alternative. Check for continuity between the key switch and the pump. Also, check that the voltage received by the pump is within tolerance. If after all these checks the Zonecheck is still not working, please contact Project Fire for further assistance and warranty claims. please provide us with the serial number of the Zonecheck. This is usually found on the pump and starts Z0, and give us a description of the fault.